Hello, 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 everybody. How are you doing today on this Monday, on this Mindset Monday? I'm here a little bit later today because I had to change my schedule. So, this is what happens, right? We have to get used to change and we have to adapt our schedule sometimes to changes as well. So I'm here today on two platforms. I'm here on my Facebook group, Confident, Aspired, and Aspiring Limitless Women's Group. And I'm also here on my YouTube channel. So hello, everybody. How are you doing today? Mindset Monday. My name is Linda G. Robert. If you don't know me, I'm going to tell you a little bit about who I am. My name is Linda G. Robert. I'm here to help you live your best life right now so you can love what you do. Now let's get started. I've got a few tips for you today on Mindset Monday. I'm going to share my screen with you. I hope you can see that. All right, so we're going to start our brief conversation today on looking at a quote. It's a very important quote. I think it's extremely important. When you take a look at this quote, it says to have the determination to accept the things that you can control, to know the difference between what you can't control. Very, very important. So let's review this quote here. Let's review this quote. My goal is to have the determination to accept the things I can't change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And the wisdom to know the difference. Really, really important. Why do you think it's so important to be able to know the difference between what's important and what's not important? Why do you think it's so important? Well, one of the things you definitely want to keep in mind is when you think everything is important, you're going to eventually be overwhelmed, right? So you really need to know what's important to you, what's important at the time, so that you can prevent overwhelm, especially during times of change. When it comes to dealing with change, you have to ask yourself at all times, and especially during times of change where there's a lot of change going on, where do we have control? What can be controlled? Do we have the courage to change the things that we can change? We can choose our attitudes, we can choose our ideas, or at least be conscious of our ideas. We could control our actions and our reactions. That's all we can do, right? But when we know, when we're aware that we have that ability to change, then we will choose wisely. That's all we can do. So the sooner we believe that we can control our attitudes, that we can control our thoughts, and so on, the sooner we can accept change and change our mindset as well. And I do believe that meditation helps a lot in this as well. So this is one thing that I want to share with you. In a few minutes, I'm going to share another thing. Share my screen with you. I want to share more strategies with you. But I want you to tell me more about how you manage change. How do you manage change? What's important for you when you manage change? Is it important for you to understand why the change is happening? Or is it just simply important to know that change has to happen and that you have no choice but to manage the change? It does really depend, doesn't it? So here we go. I'm going to share my screen with you and share more strategies with you. Oops, I have to prepare my presentation first. All right. All righty, there you go. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so you can take a look at that. So let's take a look at these different strategies to develop develop resistance to stress. And also, when there's stress, there's usually some change that's associated with it. So you want to ask yourself, like we reviewed already, what can I influence? What can I change? What can I improve in this situation? You want to be focused on the solutions, things that you can actually do. Remember your attitude. You can change your attitude. You have control over your attitude. You have control over your thoughts, your behaviors, how you respond. You also want to set yourself some goals for the day. What do I need to do today? What could I do today? And, if you plan too far ahead of time, you might have to change that. So you will have to determine the daily priorities. What is important for me to do today? Of course, we're talking about during times of change, we want to minimize the feeling of overwhelm. So you want to ask, what's important for me to do today? And be prepared to be flexible, change that if it's necessary. You also want to move every day. When you're going through a period of change or period of overwhelm, you want to be able to do some movement. That's yoga or walking outside or going for a jog, or maybe even dancing at home as well. Incorporate movement. Movement will create that energy that you need to remove the focus away from the period of change, from the stressful period. You also want to make sure that you have a routine. Now, whether you're unemployed or maybe you're working from home or maybe you're retired, if you have children, of course, as well, you want to establish a routine as quickly as possible after the change. So I'm talking about if there's been a layoff, if you've been all of a sudden you've been asked to stay at home for various reasons, just like a lot of us have had to stay at home in the last year for the pandemic. So establish that routine right away as quickly as you can and be flexible with that routine. Sometimes things happen, right? And you have to change your schedule. Again, what do I have in my control? Sometimes you have your schedule in your control and you might have to move appointments around, for example. Accept as well that it's okay to not be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. Actually, if you strive to be perfect, you will more than likely have challenges to be perfect. You'll more than likely encounter some resistance with that because we can't be perfect. And oftentimes we try to control other people, or we try to control other people's schedule. We try to control our environment. It's not always possible. In fact, it's oftentimes impossible. So you want to be flexible with that routine and accept that, you know what, it's okay. I'm not perfect, but it's all good. It's always going to end up by being in your favor. It's always going to end up by being a really, really good experience for you. And if possible, during times of change, I think it's also important to delegate certain tasks, to know what you can do, know what's possible for you to do, determine your priorities. And if you have to delegate certain tasks to other people, why not, right? This is all part of having a positive mindset and really knowing what's possible and what's not, and accepting to do what's possible. Now, I'm going to go back to that previous slide and review that quote again. I think it's a great quote. My goal is to have the determination to accept the things I can't change, the courage to change the things that I can change, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I think that is what the point is, the wisdom to know the difference. All right, so this is Linda G. Robert, your Back in the Groove Again coach, here to help you live your best life right now so you can love what you do. I certainly hope that you have a great Monday, and I will also see you, well, I'll be on YouTube on Friday to keep talking about new ways to manage change. Bye now. Have a great day, everybody.